And welcome back, folks. Good afternoon. This is US Home Talk, and we're live every single Wednesday, noon Central Standard Time. Appreciate you guys tuning in today, and however you catch us, whether it's live or later in the week. Of course, we're on Facebook and YouTube, and then all of the streaming platforms that cover the entire universe, streaming the galaxy.
Absolutely.
We're here. We are here. And this is US Home Talk, darn it. Jason Walgrave here with Walgrave Real Estate Group and the Minnesota Real Estate Team. Marcus Walgrave with Hague Realtors out of the great state of South Dakota, Sioux Empire area. Mortgage Michael Overson, the great mortgage money magician that we all know and love. And he's with Luminate Bank, which is a fantastic bank and mortgage company. Man, happy to be here this week. I wasn't here last week, you guys. Last minute thing came up, and you guys stepped it up. I watched that show. Is probably one of the top 5 shows that you've ever done, which leads me to question how important I am on the show.
I was just going to say that. It's like last week pretty much proved that. I don't think we need you anymore, Jason.
I was feeling it. I mean, I was so impressed, and I was feeling unneeded after last week. But you guys did a great job, no doubt.
I think we need pay raises.
Yeah, I would say that we do not get paid enough to do this show. That's what I'm saying. But
I submitted my request to HR for a pay increase last Friday. I had some.
Oh, did you hear back from him?
No, not yet. No,
I haven't either. I sent in complaints, and they're just not replying. All right, what do we talk about today? How do we boost your house's value? Of course, we are in the hot, smoking hot spring market. It is here. Inventory is low. There's buyers out there. Interest rates are they're not spectacular, I would say, and that's me putting it nicely. But we'll talk a little bit later about rates as well. Again, Jason Walgrave here, Marcus Walgrave, Mike Overson. We've got Evan Little, our producer that makes this whole thing happen. Evan was showing me some of his AI capabilities before the show, and it's super freaky. I mean, it's cool, but it's super freaky.
It is super freaky.
Dude, you should start a magic show with that, like an online magic show. My kids would eat that up. Be like, look at this guy, he'd move his eyeball left and right. Like, they would love that.
They would love that. They'd get a kick out of that. Folks, best way to get hold of us anytime, of course, is our website, ushometalk.com. We've got all of our past shows. You can connect with all of our fantastic partners. Anything and everything real estate related, we've got somebody on there that we're partnered with that we can refer to you. So whatever your real estate, home, or financing needs are, go to ushometalk.com and you connect directly with all of our fantastic partners. Of course, connecting directly with Mike Overson, Marcus Walgrave, myself. Evan Little, not only is he our great producer, but he is our insurance guru as well, and just does a phenomenal job in that space. You're getting ready to put your house on the market. It's the spring market's here. It's hot, ready to go. What do we want to do? What are the things that we can do to boost your house's value? Most of the sellers that we work with, their goal is to sell their home for the highest amount in the quickest time and netting them the most money at the closing. And so, how do we do that? What things do we talk about when we meet with our sellers? If that is their goal, most of them, that's the goal, right? So we're going to start with creating space. A lot of times you've got, folks have got a lot of stuff, right? And maybe it's too cluttered. You've got too many personal things in the way. And so it actually makes the space smaller than what it is. Maybe you've got a wall up that separates the kitchen to the great room or the living room. And that wall makes the space feel smaller and choppy. So creating space, opening things up, and really putting away a lot of your personal items will help a buyer envision that house is could be there someday. They can envision living there and being there with their own things. The more personal stuff that you have out, the harder it is for a potential buyer to see that house as being theirs.
And this is where staging comes into play. You know, think about some of the people that you know, where their living room is crammed full of furniture, L-shaped couch.
Right.
Plus, we have the love seat, right? And then you have end tables on both sides of everything in there, right? And you literally have one little walkway on one side to get to the living room, and have one little walkway to the other, and it's just all crammed in there.
Crammed, yeah.
How much bigger that space could look like if you just had one 3-person couch, maybe a couple chairs, one end table on there, like what a stager would do, in a new construction home or something. It makes the space feel completely different, and you don't notice it because you live there and that's how you want it. And that's what's functional for you. But
Right.
you got to be thinking, does that, buyers coming in here, does that actually show my house in the best light?
Right. And it's good to get another set of eyes on it, right? Because if, all three of us, we're going home every day and there's stuff in our homes that we're looking at or we're glancing by that is there every day. And then it kind of just, it like leaves your mind. And so in your mind, it's not even there anymore, but somebody new comes in and they're like, damn, you got like a pile of crap over there and it's been there for 3 months. Maybe we should move that, So having some different eyes on it can really be helpful.
I find this to be an easy conversation to have with sellers. It's one of those situations where you're in their house. They've invited you over to see their house, their property. And it's just simply, hey, I'm here because you want to sell this property. Mm-hmm. And when we achieve that goal, you are going to have to move out. And so It's one of those situations where it's like, you can go ahead and move forward with this goal that you have in real estate, start packing up, getting some of the personal belongings, put them in the boxes. You're moving in a couple months. So you're going to have to move it either today or in a couple months from now. So just embrace it and start packing up. And it's a great way to, one, reduce some of the stress of moving, the actual move, physical move, but then also achieving what you're saying, Jason. That's to depersonalize and create some space.
Yeah. Folks, today we're talking about ways to boost your home's value. Whether you're a seller and you're thinking about putting your house in the market, or maybe you just want to increase the value because you're going to be there for a while and you want to enjoy the space, right? Next on our list is prune, trim, and landscape. And I'll tell you what, so my wife Liz on Saturday, she started working on the kind of the front of the house, where you've got the bushes and some trees, and she's trimming up the trees and, pruning some of the bushes, and we're getting all the, it's kind of that spring cleanup. You've got some leaves that found their way into the bushes and the landscaping and the rocks. And I mean, I didn't notice it until we started cleaning it up, how much stuff was in there, how much debris, and now that our things are getting trimmed up and cleaned out, and I mean, it's incredible, and it's just another example of when you're living in your home and you see it every day, well, then you stop seeing it every day. But man, just cleaning those things up. Trees, if you got any branches or bushes that are touching the house, important to remove that. Any type of vegetation that's on the home only promotes moisture and potential mold. And but the cleaner the bushes and trees are, and the landscaping is, the better it's going to show, the better first impressions you're going to have.
In the defense of us homeowners, right? I mean, I think it's fair to say that a lot of us who have attached garages may have access, from the garage into the house. So we don't go to the front door, So it's one of those situations, kind of out of sight, out of mind. You pull into your garage, you go into the house. So when you're kind of working on some of those spring cleanup tasks, and you are putting some attention to that first impression to, a guest or a buyer, they're not coming through your garage. Right. And coming in there, they're coming through the front door like everybody else would who doesn't live in the house. So I mean, it's kind of to emphasize that out of sight, out of mind kind of a idea, and I mean, it's very true. So
yeah.
So Jason, we're talking about boosting your home's value. How does doing that spring cleaning and cleaning the bushes and trees and all that stuff, how does that boost your value?
Well, it presents better, right? And for a buyer, if they come up to a house and it's been well cared for, the landscaping and the front elevation is going to be the first thing that they see. They're going to have a different feeling about the house. If those things have been neglected, first thing that's going to come to their mind, because I have buyers say it to me all the time, is, man, they didn't even take care of the bushes in the front. What else did they take care of? And if a buyer thinks the home hasn't been maintained correctly or taken care of, they're not going to pay as much for it. So making sure that those things show as well as they can only helps the value and helps us sell it for a higher amount for you.
Great answer. That's where I was going with it, kind of. Because when you talk about boosting your home's value, a lot of people go to, new paint, new carpet, adding a bedroom, new cabinets or refacing your cabinets, that type of stuff. Some of these things that we're talking about, the first two things we're talking about right now is there's no cost to it. It'll cost you some time, but there's no cost to it, and which means what's your return on that, right? Your return is exponential on it because there's no cost to you to get these things done. And will it make a difference? Absolutely, it will make a difference.
It will make a difference.
There is a cost to hiring a professional stager, so that is something. But I mean, Jason and Mike, I mean, I know we've had these conversations with our clients in the past, and even their cost, you're going to get full return on investment with a professional stager plus some. Plus percents. So I mean, even in a situation where where you are hiring the work to be done, but a lot of the staging advice can come from your realtor, like Jason and I, and if you got the manpower, you can do a lot of the yard work yourself too.
Folks, we're talking about ways to boost your houses or your home's value. Jason Walgrave here, Marcus Walgrave, Mike Overson. You're listening to US Home Talk. We're live every Wednesday. You can find us on all the streaming platforms. Be sure to check out our website, ushometalk.com, to connect with us all directly and all of our fantastic partners. Next, we're going to go ahead.
Real quick here, Mark. I just noticed this, and we've done this show how many times? I just noticed this. Marcus looks like a DJ on this thing.
He does look like a DJ.
He's the only one that's got the over-the-ear headphones.
You
got a mic there, and he's like,
put on one side though. You just got.
I listened to the producer. The producer has told us multiple times, use your headphones. You guys are sticking those little buds in your ears, and we need to follow directions.
We need to come up with a name, a DJ something for Marcus on this show. That'll be a project for this week. So next week we got a new name for Marcus.
DJ Marky Marcus.
Something. Yeah, there you go.
Marky Mark.
I like
Back in the day.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Wahlberg. Yeah, heck yeah, dude. All right. Next on our list, let in the light. So important that you let in the light. You got to draw the shades. You got to open up the blinds. Also talks about using dimmers. Certain rooms, a dimmer switch or having the light dimmed can bring a really nice feel. And then it also talks about bringing in some solar tubes. I was at a listing appointment last week, a beautiful house. I mean, it was 2 years old, but it feels brand new. They've just done an incredible job of keeping it up, and no, they don't have any kids, so that probably helped. So
that
absolutely
helps.
That helps.
But they had the one side of the house. Let's see. I think the house faces east. So the one side of the house didn't have a lot of windows, and so without the lights on in the kitchen and the great room, it was pretty dark, and it was during the day. But what they had just installed in the last year was a solar tube. So it's a tube about, I don't know, it's about that big that goes on the ceiling, and then the tube goes out and it's pulling in sunlight. Holy smokes, did that light up the kitchen? I mean, one solar tube on the ceiling in the kitchen lit up the entire kitchen. It was really cool, really impressive. And so bringing in light is important. using the different lighting features that you have. If it's a showing that's at night, make sure you have on all the lights. You got the front lights. If you have landscaping lights, you want to make sure that you're utilizing those. Light can set the mood, and for the most part, most people want light in their house. Definitely when you're showing your home, you want to bring in as much natural light as you can.
Great tip.
Everybody agrees.
I agree. Yep.
I've never had anybody be like, "Ooh, this house is too bright.
It's too bright. I wish it was darker."
I don't know if I wish it was darker. But I think an interesting point that you made about the dimmers. Where do you like to have some dining room? That could be a room that you're trying to showcase, some dimming light options, or down in the family room where the movie room is, or whatever the entertainment room is. Kind of the wet bar downstairs. Those are some areas where you can kind of dim just to allow people to have the effect of what that room presents.
Yeah. Absolutely. Folks, we're talking about ways to boost your home's value. Number 4 on our list is don't put off care and maintenance. And we see this often where we go in and we meet with folks, and maybe they're thinking about selling their house in the fall, but we want to meet with them now to get ideas on what they need to do. And sometimes people put things off, right? And so whether it's maybe it's a stain in the ceiling that came from a laundry tub that overflowed, and it happened 5-6 years ago, and they haven't got to it, or maybe there's some deferred maintenance, and when you put things off, what ends up happening is when it is time to sell, now that list of only 1 or 2 or 3 things that you need to do to get ready, if you've been putting all these things off all these years, now you got this massive list that can become overwhelming, for one, and it can, if you're on a time crunch where we got to get it listed sooner rather than later, now you got to spend a bunch of money to have somebody come in and do it quickly. And so if you want to boost your home's value, maintain the value, make sure that we're not putting off maintenance and care items over the years that you live there.
Now, I'm going to jump in here, Jason and Mike. Now, Mike brought up something to us maybe 6 months ago, and I'm going to ask to see if you actually did it, Jason.
I didn't do it, but that was because we really didn't have any snow this winter.
The AC?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about cleaning underneath the refrigerator. Wasn't that, Mike? You said that you did do that.
Yes. I did that. I did that about a month ago. But I cannot take any credit for it because Joseph, he was like looking underneath there, and he's like, Dad, I think there's treasures underneath there.
Treasures, yeah.
And I'm like,
one way to put it.
I'm like, all right. I'm like, let me go get the power screwdriver. So I get, the screws off the front panel on the bottom, and I pull it off. Oh my goodness. So here's what I learned about that.
Looked like a live animal was under there, wasn't it?
It was pretty gross, right? It was pretty gross. But the other thing that I discovered is, so you got the bottom, you got the fridge, and then there's that space between the bottom of the fridge and the floor. So there's all that crap in there, and so you suck all that up with a vacuum cleaner. But right above that, there's like the coils. There's fans and coils and whatever else is in there, like covered in dust, like a dust like coat over all of those things. So I got the vacuum cleaner sucker in there and got it all sucked out. But it was a lot of like built up dust on those coils and that fan in there. So so I did get it done, Marcus, but I have to give all the credit to Joseph. Otherwise I wouldn't have done it. So
I have forgotten since I totally forgot about. I was going to do it, Mike, because you were like, I do that every year. I'm like, man, every year I don't think I've even heard of anybody ever doing it ever. So I'm like, I'm gonna get it done, but maybe this weekend is the weekend for me to
just go do it now, Marcus. We'll go during the show.
Okay.
We'll go clean it up. When you come back and talk to us when it's done, let us know.
Is there enough time? I haven't touched it. 3 years, 3-year-old refrigerator.
Yeah, you
All right,
got
so
to
he-
get up in there. Get up in there in all those parts because it's crazy. It's how it gets because there's fans that suck up air in there and stuff. So it's sucking up the dust, the hair, the fingernails that make their way underneath there, whatever it's underneath there. And
The fake
it's
fingernails. I got girls. I got
Yep.
three little girls. So I
Yep.
can't tell you how many times I come across a fingernail sitting on the ground. So I'll wait
All
till
right.
they get home. They're little. They can get onto there for me.
yeah.
So here's another thing that I did a couple weeks ago that I this is worth talking about right now. Have you guys ever cleaned out your dryer vents? Like you get in there with it. There's like this extension thing you can buy on Amazon that's specific to get in. You pull the screen out to take the lint off. Well, that housing unit, there's so much stuff in there, and so I got all that sucked out and underneath the dryer and behind the dryer, but it was a lot of stuff, and I did it because someone had mentioned to me that they had somebody that they knew that had their house burned down, and it
That's
was
scary.
because from the dryer vent
Yep.
that got overclogged and it started on fire, and so and I was like, man, I didn't even think about that, so I cleaned it. There's a lot of lint in there, all over in there, so highly recommend doing that as well.
So the other thing too that is overlooked lots of times. When's the last time you guys took the casing off your air conditioner outside and cleaned
Oh,
out those vents?
I do that every year. So
Marcus,
because it we have
So-
like a cottonwood tree and it just
Oh.
won't work.
I literally took I neglected to do so like 3 years ago. I usually do it every single year, once a year. I didn't do it 1 year. So I had a 2-year gap there and I went out there and I took that thing off there and I could literally knit a sweater with all the crap that I took off of that. I mean, it was so on there. I'm like, I don't even know how this thing is even working anymore. And so
Yeah,
Marcus,
strange.
if you haven't looked at yours for, well, I don't know how long.
Have you ever done it?
Have you ever done it, Marcus?
I have not. So
Oh.
with that being said, time out. Time out.
That's it.
So with that being said, I do, however, have the HVAC specialist come out every year to service the heating unit and the AC unit. So it's on them.
Okay. So
That's
at least
gotta
you got
be-
that going on there.
I pay
Okay.
them to do it, and
That's fair. We'll give you a
you know,
pass. I'd go look anyway.
if it. I trust the professionals. I'm not an HVAC specialist.
Of course, if it breaks down, you just have to buy a new AC. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm calling them up. I'm gonna say, hey, you were just here like 2 months ago. You said it was good to go. Come back.
All
and
right,
fix
folks,
it.
we're talking about how to boost your home's value, getting off topic a little bit, but that's all right. Next on our list is Go Green. This one, when I think of Go Green, I think of, first thing that comes to mind is solar. And we're seeing more and more homes with solar panels on the roof. I don't know. I don't like the way the solar panels look on a house on the roof. I think that especially if you can see the solar panels when you're looking at the front elevation of the house, I don't think it looks good. But I've seen some houses that they were faced the right way where the back of the house is getting sun for the majority of the day, and that can be something that buyers are potentially looking for.
Have you seen any of the Tesla roofs locally?
Yeah, I have not locally. I've seen. That's a great point, Evan. So the Tesla roofs, their solar panels look like a slate or steel shingle, and they look really, really good. I mean, doesn't look like solar panels. Looks like yeah, exactly, Marcus.
Lots
So
of money.
the technology will continue to become better all the time, and I think there's stuff like geothermal heating and cooling. There's the solar panels, and I think and then there's little things you can do like insulating your garage doors, and you can get higher efficiency appliances and furnace and AC. And so green is definitely, I think it's on most people's minds. A home that has green features. I mean, a lot of the builders out right now are considered green certified, and so they're building homes a little bit different, a little bit more environmentally, I guess, thoughtful. And so, but this is on the list of ways that you can potentially boost your value. Now, I will say one thing about solar. if you're going to go put solar panels on your house, and you're going to sell your house next year, you are not going to get that money back. It's just, you're not going to. A buyer's not going to pay you that extra 30, 40 or whatever thousand it is. But if you're going to be there for a while, you can offset some of your electrical costs, and I think the technology will continue to get better, and I think the cost is going to come down eventually too.
Jason, what's your thoughts? I just had to Google some pictures so I could look at those. I mean, the shingles are super cool looking as far as the Tesla ones there.
Yeah.
It's an overlay on your existing roof, right? So if those shingles don't match, if those solar panels don't match your roof, you're going to still see that like there's something there, right? There's a big block of something different there. Would you almost recommend like doing an entire side of your house and covering the whole thing in shingles so the look is consistent on that entire chunk of the roof?
That's what I thought they were doing. I thought it was the whole roof is the solar shingles. Because I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm seeing both on there. I mean, and if you do the whole roof, it just looks like that's just the roof, right? And they're cool because they do look like slate shingles and stuff like that. So it's a cool look. So that's probably one thing to consider is if you're going to do one entire section of your roof in those solar panels, do the whole thing so that piece of the roof is consistent.
Yep.
Yeah. I also hopped on. I was kind of curious, when we were talking about the cost here, it looks like, you're looking at about 10 plus years to pay off. So Jason, to your comment about, hey, if you put a brand new solar roof on there, are you going to get that when you sell it next year? Not likely the case. But in terms of possibly the money you'll save with it having on there, it looks like, you're somewhere right around that 10-year marker is where you kind of break even. So
interesting. I suppose if you're building a new house and your plan was to do the whole roof in solar, right? And then you could be strategic on, how the house is positioned. You could, do you have to do forced air heat? Well, if the whole house is going to have a solar roof, maybe you're going to do some electrical heating instead. There's, I think you have more options. You get creative if you're going to build from the ground up and use some of the green and solar technology. I think it's cool. I don't think we're quite there yet. We're consumers. I have never had a buyer say, "Hey, I want to buy a house with solar, with solar panels on the roof."
Well, Evan, what are your thoughts on this? When we're looking here, the Department of Energy says that solar panel roofs, that can last up to high quality ones can last up to 25 years. And there's some up to 35 years. In terms of an insurance thing, I feel like I've heard, especially with the Tesla shingles, that they do hold up to weather elements better. But have you guys seen this? For lack of a better word, trend of having solar roofs? Are they getting beat up by hail or wind, or are they they're doing better than the asphalt shingles?
They're definitely doing better than asphalt shingles. The key is the construction of the things. If the storm is big enough to break quality made solar panels, you're not talking about tear off and re-roof only. You're talking about replacing all the siding, all the window cladding, probably some of the windows themselves, that kind of thing. That or something has come down onto the house, right? You have a tree nearby, and the storm rips it up, and a giant branch hits something. Something beyond that hail. It is still something that companies are asking about in rating, but I haven't seen it impact premium yet. Where they'll say, "Hey, do you have solar panels on the roof?" And then they adjust coverage A, which is the cost to rebuild the home if it disappeared, like burned down or whatever. But as far as like rating for wind, hail claims, partial losses, stuff like that, it doesn't seem like it's impacting anything there yet.
Interesting.
I will point out that like if the Tesla roof or a technology like that is replacing the shingles, I'm gonna guess that they're probably more robust than standard asphalt shingles. I've been saying privately for a while that I think that the whole country needs to just move on from asphalt shingles. It's kind of been the default for a long time, but it's clearly not holding up to the sort of storm patterns we're seeing. Insurance companies are charging more and more because of how many re-roofs are needing to be done, and it's either insurance companies are going to basically stop covering it over time, or we just move towards roofs that are more robust. I think that in 20 years, it'll be pretty normal for everyone to have like 16 gauge or 14 gauge metal roofs on their house. So, yeah.
It'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and then we wouldn't have to have a giant sequence of, oh, there's a big hailstorm, now everyone's getting the roof replaced, and now all of our insurance premiums are going up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Oh, that's not a bad idea. All right, folks, talking about ways to boost your house or your home's value. Jason Walgrave here, Marcus Walgrave, Mortgage Michael Overson. I'm just going to run through these last couple real quick before we wrap up this another riveting show. And it's nice that all three of us are back in action. The
All
three
four of
amigos.
us. All four of us.
All four of us. The four amigos.
We haven't had this for a couple months, I don't think.
I mean, really? It's been
Yeah.
that long?
I think everybody's been kind of out and so
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing there's four of us.
To help cover, right? So I got a funny story about that. We're talking about solar that I'll bring up real quick. So there's a politician from one of the more southern states, South Carolina, Georgia, something like that. She's been reaching out to Elon Musk about making a trip to the sun and trying to get samples. Right. So her idea was, I don't know how that's possible, first of all, but anyway, she literally has a video on YouTube that's she's talking about this, and she's like, as I was speaking with Elon Musk, one of my ideas is that we should probably take that trip at night, because otherwise we do it during the day, it might be too hot.
stop.
I swear to God, go to YouTube.
Please tell me she was joking.
Was she kidding or was she serious?
I don't know. I thought she was pretty serious in the video. Either she's a good actor, and
Did she look serious? Like
she looked very serious, of like, this is something that she wants to push for and get his help to do, to make a trip to the sun to get samples. But they should probably do it at night because it's cooler at night.
Folks, this is who we have elected.
Not we.
Good job.
They.
Good job.
Anyway, so that was something that we started talking about solar. Like, oh, I got to bring this up. That was interesting.
Maybe she was referencing like an eclipse or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll finish this up. All right, here's what we got. Last few things. Flooring. What's under your feet. So do you need new carpet? You need to have the floors redone. Can you just shampoo it? Easy bath upgrades. Not talking about a full bathroom remodel, but just some of maybe it's countertops and a new mirror and some light fixtures, maybe some plumbing hardware, and then neutral wall colors. I've seen we've all seen some pretty wild colors in homes. The bolder, the brighter, the more shocking that it is, the less likely that's going to help you in your home's value. And so those are some things on the list of how to boost your home's value. But, folks, I think, one of the points that stood out most to me is just don't let any deferred maintenance happen. Take care of your house. If you're doing it consistently, it's a lot easier to maintain, and buyers will, they will appreciate that, and you're gonna sell it for more. So, folks, we appreciate you tuning in. I'm looking forward to being back next week. All of us gonna be back next week. What's the skinny?
See you there.
I think we will. Talk. We do appreciate you tuning in. You can find us always on our website, ushometalk.com. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.